Just about as quick as it arrived, Google Stadia is finally done. But Google made the decision to impart one final gift on its users over and above the refund on their purchase, but we'll get to that in a little bit. When it comes to gaming, our writer Joe Hindi and I have been lifelong fans of all kinds of games, and we're probably going to end up just being big kids at heart for the rest of our lives. So let's talk about Stadia one last time. Now, I have to say, I will never forget the rush of going to a friend's house on a Friday afternoon and playing on their Super Nintendo, or, when the PS1 and the N64 made headlines back in the day. But with the advent of game streaming and mobile gaming and emulation, game consoles seem to be moving closer to extinction. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a console gamer at heart. I love console gaming, and I don't think it's going anywhere for a little while, but it's got a lot more competition. And 4 years ago, that competition got even tighter. The closed beta for Stadia started, and it caused some whispers. And by November 2019, when Google announced Stadia, for some gamers like myself, there was definite excitement in a console-less console experience. But that also came with some really serious questions. Could the system keep up through your average or slower internet connection? Would you be able to play online FPS games without losing to someone on a PC setup? Well, it turns out that those questions were absolutely valid and made Stadia a hard system for core gamers to buy into. Lag, frame drop, controller lag, and to top it all off, Google reallocated the Stadia development team to work on third-party games, leaving the system itself to its own demise. Now, Joe, when Stadia was initially announced, I was really hoping and I was excited that traditional console players like myself would finally have something to close the competition with Steam. And at the time, Xbox Live was really not doing that great and had very limited game licenses. So I was really excited to see what could be. But what was your first reaction when it was announced, and how quickly did it fizzle out for you?
I'll be honest, I wasn't really all that excited for Stadia from day one. Maybe it's because I'm a gamer already, but I've seen the current pitfalls of gaming and I didn't see Stadia fixing any of those problems. It was built to work in ideal internet setups, which isn't the environment their target audience lives in. You have college students on college Wi-Fi and kids playing in their bedrooms when the router is 2 floors down in the basement, and it's like, Stadia was marketed to those up-and-coming new gamers, but how is it supposed to perform in those less than ideal conditions?
Do you think that the writing was on the wall from the get-go, or did Google really give it a chance to succeed?
I think the writing was on the wall from the get-go. You have competitors like NVIDIA GeForce Now that integrated existing Steam libraries, whereas Stadia made game developers port games to its platform. Players needed to repurchase the content they already owned. The aforementioned internet stability issues for large portions of its target audience was another issue. I think Google believed it was giving Stadia a chance to succeed, but the actual barriers to entry were much more daunting than Google realized.
Do you think we could see Stadia come back in some form one day, or is this actually just it?
Oh, I don't think we've seen the last of cloud gaming. NVIDIA's GeForce Now, like I said earlier, lets you link your Steam library so PC gamers don't have to repurchase their libraries. And Xbox's Game Pass is surprisingly successful as a Netflix-style gaming service. I think features like those mixed with Stadia's surprisingly good core functionality would be pretty interesting to see.
Is there anything else you'd like to add some comments on?
I didn't really have anything against Stadia, but as a longtime gamer, it never really felt good to me. It felt like Google hired a bunch of non-gamers to make a gaming product and they didn't really understand the gaming market. It's not like it was when I was a kid in the early 2000s where most kids didn't game. Studies show that over 80% of teenagers, regardless of gender, play games now. And Stadia didn't have Fortnite or chart toppers like Elden Ring. Its big launch title was Doom Eternal. You stand back and you look at it, and I don't think Stadia knew who it was appealing to, but they hoped it was appealing to someone. Stadia has fans and there's nothing wrong with those people, but they're definitely not as big of a demographic as Google originally thought.
Okay, so if there's any bright point to this, no one is going to be left in the lurch. Google is doing the right thing and refunding its supporters, and I find that very commendable. We just wish that they would have committed to the process a little bit longer and given it a bit more of an honest effort, but we're glad in the very least that they've made the smart decision to enable Bluetooth for the Stadia controllers, something that users have been asking for a long, long time. So Stadia has actually finally put out the announcement. It's simple enough to do. Just head to stadia.google.com/controller and you'll find all the info that you will need to permanently switch your Stadia controller from Wi-Fi Stadia over to Bluetooth for use with any Bluetooth compatible devices. You should also know that this will only be supported until December 31st, 2023. So you better get switched over now so that you're not worrying about it later. A refund and free Bluetooth controller for your trouble? Honestly, that doesn't sound too bad to me. So I really want to know, is there a future for this sort of gaming platform that Google envisioned? Where do you game? And more importantly, what is your favorite game? Let us know in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more from us. But until next time, guys, thank you so much to Joe Hindi for having this conversation with me. I'm Ryan from Authority Media. Be kind, and we'll see you on the next one.